your tomato plants. It can maximize the size and flavor of your tomatoes. Shari Petrucci is from the Western Mass Master Gardeners Association. She's here to share more about the pruning benefits. I wore my tomato dress today.
So did I. Yeah. Well, my shirt. Don't we match today?
We do match
yes.
nicely.
Yeah.
Why would someone want to prune their tomato plant? I mean, obviously we know pruning is a good thing, but why specifically tomato plants?
Well, first of all, if you prune your tomato plant properly, you're going to get more tomatoes, a richer flavored tomato, larger tomatoes, and help keep your tomato plants free from pests and diseases.
So there's a lot of reasons why you want to keep an eye on those tomato plants. Now, there's different types of tomatoes. We know there's some cherry tomatoes,
there's so many out there.
Are the rules the same for every plant?
No. We like to divide the plants into two categories, and it's because of their growth habit. One is called determinate tomato plants, and the other is indeterminate tomato plants. Okay. Determinate tomato plants grow to a genetically specific height and stop growing. They're bushier and they don't really get a lot of suckers per se.
What's a sucker?
A sucker is a branch or a stem, I don't know if you can see this up here, that will grow in the crook or the elbow of the main stem and a side branch.
Okay.
Okay, so in a determinate tomato, you don't really have to worry about those up here. You just want to prune it up away from the ground, right against the stem like that.
Okay, at the bottom. Now,
right, so when it rains, any disease spores in the soil aren't going to splash up so much. And anything that's dead like this, which happens naturally with tomato plants, it's one of their characteristics.
So it doesn't mean that it's dead, it just means that you just have to prune it. Now, how do you know if you got a determinate or indeterminate?
Okay, well if you're buying a tomato plant from a nursery or a garden center, you're going to look for any signs of blossoms. Blossoms that are on the very tips of the growing stems, that is going to tell you that it's a determinate tomato plant. An indeterminate tomato plant will have side blooming tips, not on the very edge of the stem like this. It won't be on the edge of the stem. It'll be more inward here. They'll be branching off and growing in and through without.
Okay.
And the stems are much more viney. Those are the ones that you really want to prune and get these suckers out, because it'll help to concentrate the growth of those tomatoes onto a main stem. Those tomatoes will get larger, richer in flavor, and you'll have more. And you don't want them to get too wild and bushy because they're very difficult to harvest. I like to just use plain kitchen scissors that I can sterilize in the dishwasher or hand wash them.
Right.
And they're long enough where I can, I even have some that are even longer that I can get in there and trim those suckers. So determinate, just prune up away from the soil, maybe 6 or 7 inches away from the soil. And I actually like to put straw down, so if it does rain, whatever's in that soil, is not going to bounce back up on the leaves and create a mold problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they can be susceptible to a mildew if they're too damp too long.
So this one is a
determinate.
Determinate.
Yeah, because you can see the blossoms are on the tips. They're just going to be on the ends. We don't have a lot on this plant because unfortunately our tomato season hasn't really kicked off yet, so we're a couple weeks behind. But I brought this in as an example.
And this will actually help with the flavor as well.
Oh yeah, because you are concentrating those growing behaviors into main stems, all the energy of the plant is going to be concentrated into those main fruits, and those will have a much richer flavor.
And you can also get more, so you can share more with your family and friends.
Right. Most determinate tomato plants are like the beefsteak tomatoes, the big, large tomatoes, and sandwich tomatoes. Indeterminate tomato plants are mostly the cherry tomato plants and other salad-type tomatoes. But go out there, get some heirloom tomatoes. They're absolutely delicious. You can grow them from seeds starting in March, or buy them from the store. It's your choice. And they grow great in pots. You do not have to have an acre of tomato plants. One tomato plant can give you quite a bit of a harvest.
Yeah, so then you can be proud, and they're pretty easy to maintain as well.
Yeah, I always like to have at least one tomato plant on my porch because people see the tomatoes in it and they go, "Oh wow!"
Yeah, and it smells so good.
They
Everyone
do
loves
smell
the smell.
good.
My meme tells a story about how she used to take a tomato leaf and put it in her shirt, and when she was working, she would smell it.
Oh yeah, and you can even plant marigolds around the base. Plant marigolds to help keep the bugs away.
Well, thank you, Shari.
You're
Great
welcome.
advice. So get out there
Thank
and
you.
prune those tomato plants. Still to come.